I'm the tutor from Athena that is going to be teaching the taxation course, but for today I'm going to basically be giving you guys a brief introduction on how to approach your writing assignment for taxation. Later this week, I believe, and also in the upcoming weeks, I'm going to be making more videos that go into a little bit more depth in terms of the introduction section, the theoretical background section, the analysis, and the conclusion of your research. And then also, of course, here are the requirements. So I basically just condensed what you already have on your course outline page into a doc, so it's a little bit easier to see and understand what I'm talking about when I'm talking about it. So, of course, the first thing that you need to do whenever you start your assignment, your writing assignment as a whole, is to choose one of these three options. So you have three potential questions that you can, or potential topics that you can address in your writing assignment, which is a really nice thing. If you don't like one, then obviously you can choose a different one. So what I recommend first, while you guys are just getting started, is to pick your top two assignments and then kind of go through the literature, see which one you find more interesting, and then from those two, then pick your favorite one. Because I know that some of these you can, you might find interesting, like you might find too interesting, and then from there, again, I just recommend like doing a little bit more research, looking at the articles, like looking at some articles addressing some of these specific topics, and then seeing which one you find more interested, seeing which one you would be able to make a research question out of, and then eventually writing your whole assignment. So that's one thing I would recommend. Picking two first, going into it a little bit deeper, and then going ahead with the one that you find more interesting. So that's the first thing that you need to do. And then once you've chosen your assignment, 1, 2, or 3, then you need to make a research question. So in terms of all of these three questions, you can make the research question more specific than these three questions from the assignment. Actually, I would recommend you guys make the research question more specific because, for example, in assignment 2, what is the best solution to tax digital multinational companies? That is a pretty broad question. You don't know what type of solution they're asking, like long-term, short-term. Should you apply it to all multinational companies, all digital multinational companies, only ones in Europe, only ones in the States, like any, I mean, it's pretty vague in terms of how much information there is. So I would definitely recommend for these three to make your research question a little bit more targeted to a specific country or specific concept or idea, because in that case, you can fit it in the word limit. Because really, if you tried to answer this whole question, like for assignment 2 or even for assignment 1, in 3,000 words, and you tried to address this question specifically, I think it would not be enough words. It would not be enough space to actually properly answer this question. So I would recommend making it a bit more specific in order for you to actually answer the question, argue it with relevant literature, and then be able to fit it within, I think 300 words is the maximum. So that's another thing I would recommend. And once you have your research question, then you can start doing your literature search. So when you do your literature search, I would actually recommend you take a look at my BRM group research assignment video that talks about the how to do a literature review or how to approach the literature review, make an outline of the literature. That's one thing I would really recommend that you guys do so that you can keep track of everything or any of the relevant articles that you want to use for your research question. So for example, let me go back here. So I have my taxation articles. And so these were all the articles that we had assigned last year to us for reading. And I basically uploaded them all to my Google Drive. And in this case, whenever I am making my taxation assignment and I'm like thinking, oh, I want to include like an article by, let's see, let's just take a look at this one. So this one was from March 2019 by OECD. So let's say, okay, I really wanted to reference OECD in my introduction, or I know there's information in that specific article that would be good for my introduction. So I would just recommend that you put that, like put the name of the article or the date or whatever in the section that you want to go back and reference it to. So that's another way to keep track of all of the articles, because there are a lot and they are not very short. So definitely that's one way to keep track. And even I would recommend putting the page number so you can really make sure that you don't get lost in all of it, because the worst thing that you can do is like be writing your theoretical background and knowing that there is a piece of information in one of the articles that you've read that would answer or that would support one of your like statements, and then you don't know which article it is, so you have to search through all of them. So definitely write down which article you want, which articles you know you can reference initially whenever you're going through your different assignment parts. Same with your analysis. Make sure you just write down the name of the article, something like that, to keep track of all of the articles and all of the literature. And so that's just a big tip. And another tip that I recommend you guys do is to listen to your tutor in terms of what they prefer. So in terms of my tutor, they were really wanting us to put the page numbers and everything like that. They said it would make them more impressed. They also made it more specific on, the type of writing they would like, the type of flow they would like in the essay. So really listen to those things that the tutor is saying that they prefer in a writing assignment that they read, because they are going to be the ones grading your assignment. So tailor your assignment to them. Usually in my in-text references, I never put the page number, but this tutor was basically saying, if you put the page number, it's going to be more impressive, or it's going to be easier for people, if it wasn't the tutor, to go back and reference those exact sources that you're talking about. So that's something that I did in my research, in my writing assignment, just because that's what the tutor said that they wanted. So again, really listen to what your tutor is saying, because eventually they're going to be the ones grading. And one of the last tips I'm going to give you to get started with this assignment is to make sure you answer every single thing that they are talking about in these descriptions. This is just exactly taken from your course outline. So make sure you address every single thing that they're asking you to do in these descriptions, because this is what they're using to grade your assignment. So you need to make sure that you address every single part. So whenever you're making an outline for your essay, these are your big blocks, basically, that you make in your outline to separate basically your writing and separate the what you're going to be writing about. And then once you have these big blocks of information, you can make separate paragraphs or separate sections for each of the items that you want to address. So first thing, like, for example, for analysis, you need to make criteria, and then you need to come up with criteria arguments, and then you need to basically assess the criteria and their weights, which means just how important they are in terms of what you should consider. So that's an example of how you can basically separate and break down basically each section, because I know they're pretty big and that it's going to be a lot of words. So for example, introduction should just be about around one page. Theoretical background should be around 1,000 around 1,000 words. And then your analysis should be about 1,200 to 1,500 words. And then your conclusion shouldn't really be that long. It should be probably around just like 300 to 500 words. So as you can see, the bulk of your writing assignment is going to be your theoretical background, and especially your analysis. You want to make sure that you argue well, you have sufficient evidence to support your analysis. So this is just in general how to approach the writing assignment. Make the word counts. Already get started on choosing maybe 2 out of the 3 assignments, doing a little bit more research into them, making a research question with the help of your tutor. Do not be afraid to ask your taxation tutor for help on the research question. They want to help you. So really don't be shy when asking them questions. Email them even if you want to ask a question about whether your research question is actually good or not, or if it's going to be like good for research or not. Don't be afraid to ask them anything like that. And yeah, this is just basically like a really brief introduction on how to approach the assignment. Again, take a look at my other video that was going over for the BRM group research project, but the process is the same for analyzing literature. So take a look at that video as well. And then I'll be making a more specific video on the introduction later this week. So yeah, I hope you guys found this helpful. Good luck with your writing assignment. Happy first week of back. But yeah, thank you.